and figure all that stuff out. But that will work. Okay, cool. Well, welcome to welcome to Zoom, Raeni. I imagine you
Well,
had this at some point during the pandemic. You'd had to deal with Zoom and so. Well, I guess you did it for your regular job anyway.
yeah, I'm very familiar with
Yeah, of
Zoom.
course.
We youths have been forced into the online meeting space since early on in life. So
Yeah, good point. Okay, not just for school, but in all walks of life. Yeah.
all
Um,
sorts, yeah.
so, by way of introduction, I'm Brian Ibbett. Hello, and this is my niece. We'll talk about that later as well. Rainey, who is
Hi.
now living in New York. Third week in New York.
Yes.
All right. Oh, I can't wait to hear.
Coming on a
Um,
week 4. It's been fun.
yeah, I'm sure. She moved out there to pursue acting. She's going to acting school out there, and I can't wait to get more details on that as well. And one of her friends or roommates told her, "Hey, the best way to kind of get acclimated to a new place is to do something that's kind of a regular deal. Just create a ritual or something like that." And there's a better word for it, I'm sure. But we decided that a Zoom call that we record and turn into a podcast might be a really good way of having some sort of connection to home, since you're so far away from everybody else in the
Yeah.
family. And but also having that ritual just kind of, make you feel like, we're not that far away.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And the
I think
trick
the
is,
the
yeah.
word you were looking for is routine, but I think ritual is better. I
Routine.
like that
No,
more.
routine. Yeah, that's it. Routine. Uh, yeah. I'm getting confused with poutine, Canadian cheese curds and gravy, but routine poutine.
That's
Sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
also a
Yeah.
great way to feel better.
Now,
I mean,
a poutine routine might actually not be a bad idea. Um, so let's talk about the I alluded to the uncle with an asterisk kind of situation. So people who don't listen to any of the other shows I produce where I talk about my Uncle George and how we kind of grew up more as brothers than we did as an uncle nephew relationship because we were so close in age, and we'd fight and we'd do the things that typical brothers do that typically uncles and nephews don't do. So when he started having kids, it became kind of a natural thing for them to start calling Tina and I aunt and uncle. And it almost happened kind of naturally. We didn't have to tell you guys, "Hey, call us aunt and uncle. We're like your aunt and uncle." You guys just started doing it, which was great. So one of the one of the thoughts for a name for this is UncleCousin. The jury's still out on that, but it's guaranteed to be a podcast name that nobody has used before.
right, right.
And
And
nobody
then
will
it's
use again.
catchy.
And
It's catchy.
it's catchy,
I talked to
yeah.
a couple friends about it, and they were like iffy on the name at first,
Yeah, yeah.
and then they've all texted me about it. And they're like, "When is Uncle Cousin starting?" And I was
See,
like, "Oh my gosh."
there you go. I think we'll call it UncleCousin unless unless you've got other ideas. Were you able to come up with any other thoughts?
I came up with several,
Oh,
all of
okay.
which that are taken.
Oh, really? Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, there was like one of my favorites was It's All Relative. I thought that was funny,
Uh
but there's already a family therapy podcast on that. And while this will be therapeutic for me, I don't think it should be considered psychological advice for anyone.
right, right. We are not a doctor.
Not a doctor. No doctors here. Love Dr. Pepper, but it's not the same thing.
Not the same thing. Yeah.
And then there were a couple more, but pretty much all of them were taken. That one was my favorite. So
Yeah. All right.
we'll
Well,
keep workshopping.
we'll
If
keep
something comes up,
workshopping.
great.
In the
And if
meantime,
not,
the working title will be UncleCousin unless we come up with something we like better.
right, right,
Cool.
right.
All right. Well, let's talk about the move. First off, the drive out there. You, like a crazy person, decided to do some like overnight driving. So you drove from Colorado, from Denver area to New York City, but you stopped in Ohio. Is that right?
Yeah, Chicago.
Oh, Chicago.
Chicago.
Okay, Illinois. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
So Denver to Chicago, but you didn't do it like a regular person would, doing it,
No.
starting in the morning and then arriving there late evening, early evening,
Yeah.
mid evening, that sort of thing. You started at what, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night?
Yes. I much prefer overnight driving through the
Hmm.
Midwest because it's so boring. It's
Oh, okay.
so boring. And so if I have to choose between like endless farmlands that make me feel like I'm driving on a treadmill and never actually getting anywhere,
Yeah.
I'd rather do that part in the dark. And then I can
Okay.
focus on my music and
Ah,
I find it nice to be able to see like cars from way far ahead and
because
like
of
lights and
headlights and
stuff,
stuff.
hazard lights.
Sure.
It's way easier to see those at night. So,
Probably less
and my
traffic
AC
too.
doesn't have to work as hard. So I actually save some gas because I
Your
don't
what
have
doesn't
to
have? Oh, your
crank that.
AC. Oh, makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's not as hot.
Sure. Sure.
And yeah, did I plan that drive super well? No. No. No, I did not. And really, honestly, this entire process, like a crazy person, has
Yeah.
to be like the most accurate description of this whole process, start to finish. The move to New York to begin with.
What
Um,
time did you arrive in Chicago?
I got to Chicago in the afternoon. It was
Hmm.
like 2 or 3 p.m., I think, because everybody was kind of still in school, getting ready to come
Oh,
home from school.
wow.
I stayed with Barb's niece and her family um, out there, and it was so lovely. They were all wonderful, and they got me this huge dinner from Portillo's.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
think
Portillo's,
I think
yeah,
I
or
pronounced that
Portillo's.
correctly. Yeah, they
Yeah.
said hard L, and coming from
Okay.
Houston, I was like Portillo's, and they were like no, and
I
I was
think
like
you
okay,
think you're right. I think it is Portillo's, and
oh
people have been
yeah,
talking lately in other shows about Portillo's, and I don't know if
yeah.
we have them in Denver, do we? I don't think we
I
do.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Huh.
But it was delicious. It was great. I love the cheese sauce, big fan of cheese sauce.
Mm.
Um, and I, for whatever reason, was just so antsy to leave that I stayed. I slept quite a few hours. I slept like all through the afternoon and then
Okay.
was up for dinner. We all chatted, and then I went right back to bed. And then I left at like 3 a.m. the next day. Why? I don't know. That doesn't make any sense,
Did you
but I
tiptoe out of
did.
the house and like
I
basically
did. I
everybody else was
did.
sleeping? So it was
They
like
had
a
like a little do 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 do. Yeah.
uh-huh, uh-huh.
Just creeping out of the house. Shut the door very quietly. They had a big chalkboard wall, so I wrote them a big thank you note
Oh, cool.
and on the chalkboard and then skedaddled. And I think I drove for maybe 5 hours before I was like, oh look, a rest stop, and went back to sleep for another 2 hours.
Oh gosh, so you just pull into the rest stop, lock the doors,
Yeah. Yeah. I
lean the
always
seat all the way
bring
back. Yeah.
Well, the seat did not go anywhere because
Oh.
my car was packed full of stuff.
Oh, you had no room to
Um,
live. Sure.
so
Okay.
I twisted myself so that I always bring like pillows and extra blankets on road trips so I can tuck the blankets into the windows and kind of make it like blackout, but also single female traveling on the roads.
Yeah.
And I've
Yeah.
listened to true crime before. I'm
Sure.
not a silly little bean. I'm gonna cover everything up. So I did. Blacked out all the windows, and I have one of those like umbrella type sun blockers for the front windshield.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Put that in. It was nice and quiet, dark, and slept for probably like 2 more hours just with my feet in the passenger seat and my back against my driver's door. Yeah, it was a choice. It was a choice.
Yeah.
And then I drove like another 8 hours, I think, and then finally caved, called my dad, and was like, hey, I definitely need a hotel room. Because I was like, if I keep driving, I'm not going to be at my apartment in New York
Yeah.
until like midnight or 1 a.m. And I didn't want to make my roommates have to stay up that late to let me in.
And if you're
I
gonna,
also
right.
didn't want to be unloading my car in New York City on the street in Harlem
Oh,
at
geez.
1 a.m. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
not, and I wasn't leaving my car packed. I'm definitely not doing that. So,
Yeah, just a bit
um,
let it just sit on the street with everything you
ex-
own inside. Yeah.
exactly. And be like, oh, could have just sold it all because it's all gone anyway. At that point, they probably just would have hotwired the car and taken the whole thing off.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Well, why steal all that stuff and put it into something when you've got a nice carrying case called the vehicle itself? So,
Precisely,
yeah. Yeah.
precisely.
Yeah.
And I would have respected that. I'd have been like, honestly, fair game. So I stayed at this really nice is either a Hilton or like a little Marriott. It was like right off the
Hmm.
highway, but it was in this teeny tiny little blink of a town. And it was so nice. It was great. Everyone that worked there was awesome. I should probably leave them a review. But it was great. I did leave my facial roller in the refrigerator though, which is a bummer, but I'll just buy a new one. It's fine.
Oh, geez. Okay.
But
I'm
the
going to
first thing I
pretend I know what
unpacked
that
was my
is.
kettle. Hmm?
I'm going to
Oh,
pretend I know
oh,
what a facial roll is.
it's like a two-ended little handle that has two rolling stones on it,
Okay.
like the band.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Mick on
Um,
one side and Keith on the other is what, yeah.
exactly, exactly. And you roll it on your face and you have moves like Jagger. It's great.
That was like
And
a facial massager kind of thing, or
yeah,
okay.
exactly. And
Yeah.
there's like a little end that you put for your underarms, like the really delicate skin on your face, and then bigger ones for your larger muscles. But it just kind of helps relax your facial muscles and
Hmm.
um, prevent wrinkles, whatever, who cares?
Okay.
But yeah, it's really relaxing. And if you put it in a fridge, it's nice and cold, so it helps with like puffiness and congestion. And it's one of my favorite things. And I definitely left it in the fridge.
Oh no. Okay.
Rats. But they're pretty
Shoot.
easy to come by, so I'll just get a new one.
So how
Um,
close were you in like was it a hotel in New York and then you just had like a little short distance left to go, or did you have a
Yeah, so it was in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania? Okay. Yep.
Yeah, because I wasn't in Jersey for very long. I did get
Hmm.
pulled over in Jersey.
Oh no, speeding.
Yeah, I got. I wish that would have been much less embarrassing.
Oh no.
No, I I struggle with GPS giving me rapid instructions back to back to back
Yeah.
because I'm looking for the sign of the instruction you just gave me, and now you're giving me new ones, and I can't keep up. So I
Right.
ended up exiting the highway when I wasn't supposed to, right
Okay.
before, is it the George Washington Bridge?
Oh, okay. Might be going from New
Uh,
Jersey into uh
yeah. Hmm.
yeah, boy, I don't know bridges in that area well at all. I know
Me
I've
either.
crossed the
I feel
Verrazano
like it's
Bridge
the
and the
George Bridge of some kind because I was like, oh,
okay.
that's funny. It's named after my dad. Um, I
It's
assume
the Phyllis
Washington
George
because of New
Bridge.
York,
Yeah.
but right.
The George Papard Bridge.
Exactly, exactly. And I exit and so I'm like, oh well, I got to get back on the highway. And so I like try to make an entrance. And the whole area to try to get back on the highway is all construction. And there's
Hmm.
signs everywhere. And
Hmm.
it's New Jersey to New York during essentially rush hour. So it's
Oh, shoot.
chaos.
Yeah.
It is chaos. And I have this bus behind me that's honking at me. I can't figure out why. I've got my blinker on to make a right turn and then I need to make another right turn down there. And by the time I made the third right turn, I hear whoop whoop, and I was like, son of oh,
Oh
okay, that's
no.
fine. And the most handsomest police officer I've ever seen in my life gets out of the car
Uh-huh.
and I roll the window down and he leans in and says something along the line, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
what?
Sure.
I have never heard a New York, New Jersey accent so thick in my life. I thought he was speaking a different language. I was lost because I was like, am I having a stroke?
Right.
What? I'm so sorry. I didn't
Speaking in
catch
tongues or
any of
something.
that.
Yeah.
And then he like slows down for me, goes, do you understand why I pulled you over? And I was like, no, no, I don't. And he was like, well, you just made like three illegal right turns. There are lots of signs that said you can't turn right there. And I was like, oh, I was just trying to follow my GPS. It's too much instructions at once, and I'm not familiar with the area. And he was like, oh, you must be new here. Gave that away immediately. And I
Yeah.
was like,
The
yeah. And
car
I
full
point
of
to
stuff. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I pointed to the back of my car. I was like, I'm moving to New York today. And he goes, oh, I see that. Okay. Well, do you have any points on your license? And I was like, I don't know. Maybe. I'll be honest. I'm not sure. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. And he's like,
Okay.
well, better you tell me you don't know than lie to me. So
Yeah,
I'll
that's
be
true.
right back.
Okay.
So he goes to his car, he comes back, and he goes, okay, so since you're new here and you're only going to be in this state for 5 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and give you a warning and directions. And I was like, thank you so much.
And please leave New Jersey as quickly as you can.
And please don't come back here. This
Right.
is not for you. This is not for
Right.
you. So yeah, so that was like my first experience. He gets me on the right end of the bridge, and then I'm across the bridge into my apartment within 30 minutes. And I
Cool.
was like, out of the 27-hour drive, I would say about 80% of which was spent speeding.
Yeah.
Best turnout could
Yeah,
possibly.
actually, that's true. Yeah, if a warning on three illegal right turns far better than, oh, ma'am, do you know you were going 95 and a 60?
Right.
Yeah, so
And I would have had to been like, yes, that one I'm sure of. I knew what I was
yeah,
doing.
yeah, I
Cuff
totally
me
aware
up.
what I was doing. Yes. What, I'm not
Date me
supposed
an
to drive with
officer.
the blackout curtains in the windows? Wow, who
Right,
knew?
right. He was like, I had a hard time seeing you. And I was like, you should have seen what it was like before I took the windshield cover out. That was a disaster. I was like, man, I can't see anything today.
But I'm
Oh, right.
following the GPS. As long as you've got, the GPS going, the windows
Right.
are irrelevant. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. It's
yeah.
like driving a Tesla with manual on. It's
Right.
great.
Okay, let's talk about your first week at school. I know you've had a couple weeks at school
Yes.
now, but what is a typical week like for you? How many, like, do you have a set, like the classes you kind of repeat every day, or 3 days, or like how does all that
Yes.
work?
Yeah. So I have, ooh, in total, I think last time I counted, at least 10 classes,
Oh,
maybe
wow.
12.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I do not take every single class every day.
Mhm,
Monday and Tuesday are my heaviest days of the week. They're pretty intense. So it's
mhm,
like Monday I have we have community meetings. So we all meet up to make sure everybody's on the same page with what's going on in school. Because the most important thing about all of us students that we need to know is how to act throughout the week, because we are
sure.
in the basement of an active Broadway theater.
Oh,
So
that's
there
cool.
are it's very cool. It is very, very cool. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna deny that. Like there are like Jonathan Groff is currently
Hmm.
starring in Just in Time at the theater above us. So some of us have run into him both normally and physically, turning corners quickly.
Okay.
Um, so that's an experience.
Uh-huh.
But basically, we're sharing our rehearsal and studio spaces with the band and the actors and the wardrobe team and all that. So we're getting to kind of see the behind the scenes process of
Mm,
what goes into putting that show on 8 times a week, which is really cool, super fun.
mhm.
All the band members are so nice. They take over our library sometimes, which we gladly concede to letting them have
Sure.
it. But it's a really cool experience. But that also means there's a certain level of professionalism that's going on. There are a lot of coordinated movements that we have to kind of avoid them so that they can work quickly while
Oh,
the show's going, because we
sure.
can't be in their way, you know.
Like during these
Um,
hours, you can't go through these doors. You have to go around this other
Precisely.
way. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And our largest rehearsal space is their backstage, like getting ready room,
Mm,
their vanities, all of their costume switches, everything like that. And there's a whole hallway we don't ever go into, just so that they have a back way to get down past us, but there's
mhm,
still a little overlap in those pathways. So we have to have meetings about that, just make sure we're all coordinated on the same page and we're not screwing up their show,
mhm.
most importantly.
Makes sense.
Um, and then the COVID protocols, of course. So we're still really
Oh,
strict about COVID, because COVID affects, your respiratory system.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
since we're all actors and singers, protecting our respiratory systems is priority
Kind of
numero
a
uno.
kind of an important thing.
So
So masks all the
very.
time?
Yeah, so
Mhm,
we have to wear masks on the subway.
mhm.
And I say have to. I say have to because otherwise my brain will think it's optional and I won't do it.
Good. Smart.
But it's for sure. It's like we have to wear masks on the subway system. And right now they're doing a bunch of renovations on the subway system anyway
Mhm.
that involve lead paint.
Oh,
So it's honestly, anybody from New York listening to this, it's prudent to wear a mask in there right now
hopefully,
anyways, just that
hopefully
you're
the
not breathing in lead paint
I'm
chips.
assuming the removal of red paint, not the
Correct.
application of
Correct.
okay, good, of lead paint.
Yes.
Good. All right.
And at my subway station in particular, there's this big wooden bin covering some type of other collection site. And it says, "This contains lead. Please do not eat or drink near this thing." And I'm like, or breathe.
Jeez, no kidding.
Okay,
Yeah.
noted. Very safe procedures. I'm sure it's all up to
Yeah.
code.
Yeah.
No problem.
It's a paper sign written in PowerPoint taped to the side of the barrel.
Right, exactly. I'm just gonna start weaving like anti-radioactive materials into all my clothes.
Right. Right.
Start wearing
Kind
an
of
Iron Man suit on the
keep a
subway.
canary with you the whole at all times.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, and then so after our community meeting, I have 3 scene study type classes.
Okay.
So Shakespeare, monologue study, and contemporary scene studies. And then Tuesdays are actor's instrument, which is all about learning how to release tension in your body, how to connect with emotions more effectively, um, really being able to like ignite your imagination,
Hmm.
and be able to really experiencing things that aren't there, which is a pivotal part of being able to be an actor,
For
especially on
sure.
stage.
Okay, before
Um,
you go too far away from that, so the harnessing emotions, are they teaching you basically how to cry on command, like what to make your brain think of to well up the tears and stuff?
Yes, we have not gotten to that point just
Okay.
yet,
Okay.
but I believe that's the intention because what we
Yeah.
spent most of our time doing is like right now she gives us topics and things that we need to observe. So like our first one was sit with a hot drink or a cold drink, whatever your comfort thing is,
Hmm.
and just like really take in the physical tactile experience of that so that you'll be able to recreate it in class
Hmm.
and
Okay.
see if maybe the rest of the people in class or the professor, sometimes there's no input, but if they can kind of figure out what it is that you're holding, what it is that you're doing. um um, the one I liked the most so far was textures. We had to
Hmm.
study three textures, and I chose silk, velvet, and brick because I felt like they were easily accessible.
Yeah.
And my professor was actually able to guess that I was working with velvet, even though I wasn't using any words.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
it's a way for you to kind of gauge like, am I able to physically express what I'm interacting with, what I'm doing, without having it to be stated or obvious or communicated blatantly to the audience.
Yeah.
So kind of just testing how well you physically communicate, which is very interesting. And the professor, Jackie, she's wonderful. She reminds me of Professor Trelawney from Harry Potter. She's very fun, always wearing flowing clothes,
No,
lots and lots of
no
colors.
thick glasses though, right? The
Does she wear? I don't think she wears glasses, but she
okay.
does have very curly hair.
Okay.
So
All right.
and yeah, that same vibe. So very fun. She's very like hippie-ish, I guess, is like the way I describe her. And I really enjoy time with her. She's lovely, very calming voice,
Yeah. Good.
which is
Good.
lovely. And then we also have a ton of physical classes. So we have jazz dance, ballet,
Hmm.
um, Laban, which is more about like
It's the lead singer
physical
of Duran
movement.
Duran.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which actually Duran Duran is like a great example of Laban movement techniques in like their dances and music videos because
Oh,
it's
really?
yeah, it's all about expressing like tempo, intensity in your
Okay.
movements. So are you doing a slow sustained movement or are you doing a quick intense movement? Are you
Yeah.
looking at like consistent tempos and beats with all of your movements, or is it more erratic and free flowing? Is it a direct movement where you're clearly connecting and moving with intent towards an object or person,
Hmm.
or is it very indirect and like chaotic and like
Flowy and
outside?
right. Oh,
Exactly.
interesting. So I would not have expected so many dance classes as part of acting, but you have to
Right.
learn how to move. You have to learn how
Yes.
to, yeah.
Yeah. And
And I
that
guess
physical
you're
communication and
hitting beats and stuff like that as an
yeah.
actor. So it's like also okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and
Wow.
choreography is really important because if, like, say you have a fight scene, for example, because we do
Hmm.
have stunt and combat, and if you don't know your marks, you don't know the distance you need to be from someone to accidentally or like to pretend to smack them, you're gonna
Yes.
actually
You're
smack
gonna
them.
get hit, yeah, or you're gonna
Yeah,
hit somebody else. Wow.
yeah,
So
and
you're
I
already
know it
learning
seems
like
obvious,
the
but if
fight.
someone's expecting to get punched in the face, they're gonna have a hard time playing it off like they don't know they're about to get punched in the face.
Right, right. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of a giveaway when you're having a conversation with somebody and acting. You're going, you know, tightening
Oh,
up,
screw your mom.
waiting to get hit. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of
So
gives it away.
wow, already like fight choreography and stuff
Mhm.
like that too. That's
Yeah.
great. Jeez.
Yeah. And you
Okay.
would love my professor Dan. He's a huge comic book nerd.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, he's super fun, really funny, and he likes to make Marvel references. So sometimes if we're doing a choreography that's like it's a little goofy, like it's an unusual type of fight scene where you have
Hmm.
like a bunch of like hits back to back. Um, one of his favorite things to do is have somebody like when they roll over and they flip over onto their back to try to get up and then have someone from a long distance stomp and then like have them like drop,
Okay.
like does the whole
Like shockwaves
thing.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. He loves that. He loves that. So that's like super fun to do.
Nice.
And he's probably like 5'4", 5'5". Like
Oh,
he's
wow.
like a little hobbit guy.
No kidding.
But he's super fun and funny, huge personality. He's great to work with. So
That's cool.
that's been really cool.
You got to learn
Uh,
the superhero fight pose or the landing pose, like Iron Man and Black Widow and yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would think of that scene with Yelena in
Yes.
Black Widow where she's like, "Ugh, ugh."
Right, right. Oh, you're
That's
doing a superhero landing pose. I see. Yeah, right.
you would flip the hair. Why do you
Yeah.
always do that? What is that? What is that?
Yes.
So
That's
funny.
my horrible Florence Pugh impersonation right there. Uh
I respect it.
cool.
I
So
respect it.
I mean, what else? Okay, tell me, these classes are fascinating because it feels like
Yeah.
you're getting, like you think of acting school like, oh, well, first you're going to learn this, and then a couple years later we're going to let you in on this, and then a couple years after that. No, it feels like you're getting like all of the greatest hits all in the first
Yeah.
first
Yeah. It
year of
is.
school, the first semester.
It's intensive, and that is they call it a professional workshop intensive,
Okay.
and that's because it is only 2 years, and it's basically like a condensed like Master's of Fine Arts degree.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And all of my professors are not just like actively in the industry, like they are high level performers in the industry.
Hmm.
So Mark Barford, for example, is the professor everyone's afraid of. Sorry, Mark, if you hear this. I think you know, though. I think you do that on purpose. I love Mark. I think he's great. He demands the best out of people, and
Okay,
that's what people
good.
find intimidating.
Yeah,
I love to lean into that because I want those higher expectations because then I know I'm going to do really, really well, right? It's like
sure.
I don't expect to be perfect, but if the expectations are high, my performance will need to meet that, and
For sure.
I like that
Yeah.
challenge. So he's
What
great,
does
but
Mark teach? What's
he's he teaches contemporary scene study,
okay.
so modern to contemporary works, anything that's been written by somebody since like late 1800s
Oh,
till
okay.
now.
Hmm.
And he deals with a lot of like very complicated or like nuanced topics, like whether that's poverty or racism or certain topics like that. So,
Hmm.
and I've really liked the type of plays that all of our professors have worked with. Pretty much everybody's chosen something from a person of color. We've already studied a lot of plays written by women. So there is like this really heavy emphasis on perspectives that are not just your regular, like, literary commonalities like Hemingway and things like
Okay,
that. So,
sure.
which is nice. I love to explore that. Definitely gives you more perspectives.
Yeah,
And
wider range of people to study too, which is really cool.
yes,
Jeez.
yeah.
Wow.
And I find it's easier for our class to connect with it too, because we had two boys, RIP Nick, we lost Nick.
Oh.
He left after the first week. He's like, this isn't really what I was looking for, which is fine.
Hmm. Better to find that
Love
out.
him.
Yeah.
My lush little meatball. He's an Italian boy from Jersey that lives with his mom and well his parents, but he talks about his mom the most. So
Nice.
he's that's very much his trope. We miss him very much. But now we just have Jai, and he's in the musical theater track. So there's acting track and musical theater. We have different
Hmm.
courses, obviously, because
Hmm.
they have to do way more singing than I do.
Sure.
Love karaoke. I don't have a music book full of choices already.
Fair enough.
Very
Okay.
different
Yeah.
experience for me. But with us being mostly women and several women of color, I really like being able to study things that relate more to us and our experiences than having to kind of push ourselves into the normal boxes, which
Yeah.
is great. Um, we also have voice and diction. We have voice lessons. So I am taking singing lessons and then music theory, which I was very intimidated by at first, but I am loving it. I'm
Oh,
like, oh my
cool.
gosh, I actually really like understanding how music works and putting it together. And I get ahead of myself, is what Natalie says, because she'll say like something and I'll be like, oh, so then you can do this, this, and this. And she's like, we'll get there. Slow down. We'll get there.
Yeah, I
Hang on
tend to
to
do that
me.
as well. Music theory sounds fascinating though. So you're like learning the compositions of songs and of melodies and things like that. Like,
Right,
oh,
right.
that's so
And
cool.
it's really cool how like all the professors know what they're all teaching each other. They're all in the industry. They've all worked major performances before. So they know like, oh, so I'll be in ballet, for example. I'll be in ballet and they'll be like, this movement would be a quarter note, this movement would be an eighth note. So
Oh,
then
okay.
you learn to move with the music and see the music in your head at the same time. So now when I'm in music theory, we'll do like a little da-da, and I'm like, oh, that's like a pas de bourrée, because it's like it's this type of movement where you land here, you take a rest and go into your turns or whatever.
Hmm.
So it's like really cool how it's all kind of like tying together in my mind. Um, but yeah, they're all like several of my professors teach at Juilliard and NYU, Tisch University. All
Wow.
of them work at multiple major universities, and they've all been on stage, a major director. Three of them have had to cancel classes because and move them to reset weeks. We have gap weeks where they can move classes into
Okay.
because they have
They have
performances.
shows they have to
So
actually be in. Wow.
exactly. Like my very first Le Bon class got moved because, or acting the monologue class, because Catherine, who's phenomenal, was in a really successful show that got extended twice, and then she wasn't able to come back until after the first class.
Wow.
Mark Barford did two major productions last week. One of a show called Flick, which was a one-woman show, with the main female character, the sister from the Goldbergs. I can't remember her name all of a sudden.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, Adam's older sister, right?
yes.
Oh wow, yeah, she's really good. Good singer
hmm
too.
Yeah, she did a whole one-woman show,
Oh,
which was
whoa, cool.
incredible. And then there was Skinny, which is all about social norms around women's weight, and that was Wednesday, Thursday before for the Australian Theatre Festival, which
Okay.
he's the creative director of, and then also directed two productions for, which is very cool. And then my Shakespearean professor, Mark Nelson, we have two Marks. Mark
Oh.
Nelson, he's just the cutest. He's just a little guy. He's my
Uh-huh.
favorite. He's so passionate about Shakespeare, so he makes it so much fun to learn. I love him.
But a whole class on
Um,
Shakespeare instead of, having him as
I
being
have
part of
two,
something. Two Shakespeare
yeah,
classes.
two Shakespeare classes. I have Shakespearean scene study and then Beyond Shakespeare, where we study more contemporary authors that follow the same sort of habits, mindset, poetic um, structures of Shakespeare.
Wow.
So
Okay.
really cool.
That is really cool.
First person we studied is Chekhov, so that was a lot of fun too. Um, but yeah, so it's a crash course. I've learned so much in 3 weeks already. I'm having a hard time journaling enough to be able to keep up with it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
But yeah,
Wow,
it's
no
really
kidding. So
interesting.
doing journaling kind of as well on top of this, but that probably helps you cement those things in,
Exactly.
like it,
Yeah.
uh
Yeah. And it helps me kind of keep track of like, okay, I felt really weak in this spot. And then, then I can
oh,
look
and you
back at my
can
journals
revisit
like
it.
several months later and be like, oh, but look how good I am at this now, and kind of like measure that progress. Because with acting, it's like, how do you really measure how much better you're getting?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, but I have memorized two new scenes, three new monologues. I have another two monologues to memorize by the end of this week, and another Shakespearean scene performance. And I think we'll be getting new contemporaries here in the next week or so as well.
Jeez.
So
So then on top of the ones you've already, you'll have
mhm.
new scenes to memorize. Monologues though.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Okay.
I mean, you know me, I love monologuing. I love being able to just talk uninterrupted to a group of people with nobody being able to say anything back to me. That is my ideal form of communication.
Of course, yes.
So I
It
love
works
monologues.
works just fine. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
that's so cool
this
though.
is great for me. Everybody else is like, oh my God, it's so much talking. And I'm like, perfect. Everybody shut up. It's my turn.
Do you but these are these ones that are given to you? Do you get to choose?
Sometimes we get to choose, sometimes they're assigned. So like
Yeah,
for
okay.
Shakespeare, it's assigned
Sure,
because
sure.
we first did Midsummer's Night's Dream. Now we're moving on to As You Like It. And then he just kind of like gives us what characters we'll be playing.
Hmm.
For acting the monologue, I got to choose. So I chose a play that was written by Lizzie Milanovich. I hope I'm saying that
Hmm.
correctly.
Okay.
But they are a barista at the drama bookstore here in New York. And they wrote a play, got it published. It's being sold in the store. And so I picked that up because I was like, doesn't get more contemporary than that.
No kidding. Yeah.
So snagged that up. And it's called It's Not About My Mother, which you'll get a kick out of. But it's
Yeah,
these
that we might
two
have to
half
visit
sisters.
that one in a future
Right.
episode here. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
that's going to be its whole own episode.
Yeah.
But it's these two half sisters that are going through their mom's belongings after she passes away, and kind of like revisiting their very complicated
Mm.
relationship and how they both felt like they had two very different moms because of the way that she raised each of
Oh.
them.
Oh, right. Differently.
And yeah, so really interesting monologues, very interesting dynamics.
So when you
It's
do
really
on that one, sorry to kind of,
cool.
on a pinpoint on that, but like on that one, do you do it like you're work doing a scene with a partner, like with maybe the other sister or something, or is it like your own internal monologue as how you feel as that sister kind of thing?
Yeah, so the two I chose were like one was like a memory of the character I chose to do a monologue from was Midge, who's the
Mhm.
older sister. And she remembers, going to work with her mom and this like experience they had of like, her being under her desk and like working with it and what's it called? Just kind of reminiscing about this like really wonderful memory she
Oh,
had of working with her.
okay.
And then you're basically just talking at the other sister. And the
Okay.
other sister's just listening. So you do kind of have to play with it a little bit when you take a monologue that has like interjections, and you'll have to like
From the other
cut and
person.
edit it
Yeah.
just so that you can keep going without having a scene partner.
And so it makes sense.
Um,
Like you're not saying, no, you're not right about that. Yeah.
right.
If there's a line in there that's relevant to what you're about to say, but
Yeah,
you'll say,
exactly.
I know you're thinking that but you're wrong. And you just change it up to something like that.
Right.
Wow.
Right. And then like, yeah, you'll just like alter the words so that you either take over that line if it's like contextually necessary, or if it's just a short interjection, you kind of just skip over it, make sure
Sure.
that the words match up in a way. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's really fun. It's great to study, and I get to like step into all these different experiences and different shoes and stuff, which was fun. And I was playing for my Shakespearean scene study, I did Oberon from Midsummer's Night's Dream. So it was like
Hmm.
fun to be able to like gender bend a little bit too.
Oh yeah.
But the more intense one was we did Death of a Salesman by Arthur Miller,
Hmm.
and that was in Mark Barford's class. And I played Linda,
Okay.
who's
Is the
the
wife?
mom.
The mom. Yeah.
hmm
Willie Loman's
and
wife. Yeah.
she gets cut off like every line she has leading up until this scene, she's cut off by her husband Willie.
Hmm.
She really doesn't ever get to get her full lines out. She doesn't ever really get to like speak from where she's coming from. And this scene, when she's speaking to her two sons after they come home really late from abandoning their dad at a restaurant, she just blows a gasket, right? Like 3 a.m. They're coming home drunk, and she just snaps. And it was so fun. It was a
Wow.
really intense scene. Um, but I just ate that up. I love that. I love when the emotions are
Sure.
really heightened because it's like it's so clear what your actions are meant to be, and it's very natural how you act because you just fill yourself up with that feeling. And then as long as you memorize your lines, which hopefully you should have by then, it's able to just kind of like flow naturally, which is really
Do
cool.
you,
So
when it's something like that, that's a good example. Like when you have to kind of channel that anger like she'd feel towards her sons,
mhm.
um is it all kept in like, how would I feel if I was in that situation? Or do you pull from anger from some other part of your life to say, I'm going to kind of use this as the power and the anger that I need for this scene?
Right, right. So that depends on the type of actor.
Okay.
So that's where the distinction of like method acting comes in.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
A lot of people think that like, oh, method acting is like, you know, just putting on the outfit of the person and like leaning in,
And
like
being
coming them
that
in your free
person.
time.
Yeah. All the time. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and it is very much that, but it's that's when you tend to pull from your own memories. Like you're leaning
Hmm.
into like molding these experiences you personally went through into that. A lot of professors, especially early on for acting careers, really recommend against it because turning that switch off,
Hmm.
if you don't have a way to pull yourself out of that person when the time comes, then you end up actually kind of melding with that character and getting your own memories
Oh,
confused.
okay.
And depending on your own brain chemistry, that could be very problematic, just
Oh,
depending on who you are.
wow. Yeah.
Right.
No
So that's kind of
kidding.
what we saw with Heath Ledger and the Joker because he didn't turn it off in his free time. There's lots of journals that he wrote as the Joker from that time period,
Hmm.
and that would have been very traumatic to be stuck in that mindset
For
after filming.
sure.
Um, but then you have people who are like who will, they kind of like, they find a way to get that feeling and then they just build on it without connecting to their own emotions,
Hmm.
which has its own strengths and weaknesses as well. Because then if you're getting yourself all riled up and
Right.
then you're not able to pull out from it or things like that, then,
you
you know,
leave the place and immediately kick the first
yeah,
trash can you can find or something.
exactly,
Plus,
exactly.
I imagine that can come across in acting a little disingenuous too, because they feel like it's not coming from a genuine place or coming from
Right.
a natural place. Huh.
Right.
Wow. That's
And
cool.
for me, I feel like my emotions are generally really easily accessible. So I'm very
Hmm.
lucky in that way. I don't feel like I necessarily need to lean into either method to get emotional.
Yeah.
Like I just feel very, very empathetically, like on people's behalf. Like I get more mad about things that happen to my friends than they get about what happens to them.
You've
So,
always been like that too, like having that kind of, empathetic. You take on the the emotions of the people
mhm.
around you.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
with
feel them for them.
enthusiastically.
Yeah.
And so for me it was like, yeah, Linda should be pissed off. Like that's so easy. I'm like, yeah, like what the hell, you just left him behind and he's like going through his mental issues and you're more worried about chasing tail. Like that was
Exactly.
so easy for me to get into.
Damn it, Biff. Yeah.
Yeah, come on, Biff. What the fuck, man? And then
The only
Happy's over here, oh, I bought you flowers. I don't want flowers. I want you to be good people, God damn it. It's easy. It's easy. So, I'm very lucky in that way. But there are other scenes when it's like very like calm conversation. I have a hard time kind of tapping into that because I'm just like, well, I don't know how to express intensely enough for it to reach the audience if
Mm,
it doesn't call for that intensity,
right. If
that's a bit where my challenge comes from.
that's where the channeling back to holding the warm cup of coffee or the feeling
Yeah.
velvet or something like that probably comes
Hmm.
back in, is you have to.
Yeah. And just being like in those simple moments and just like, yeah, like your life isn't at energy level 100 all the time,
Right.
ever. Like
Right.
you would die so
You would
early
die.
on.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. That's Jim
you'd be
Carrey does
exhausted.
that, and that's about it.
Exactly.
Do
So,
you have you had any classes where a teacher tells you one thing and then another class where the teacher tells you the exact opposite, like says, well, you should always do this, and then the other teacher says you should never do this, and it's the same.
oh, yeah, they don't deal in absolutes,
Okay, good.
but a lot of the professors preface it with this is my recommendation and my
Okay.
experience and what I've taught to people and what I've seen be successful. And we're not graded. So a lot of it is
Hmm.
like you really showing up to class, being present, absorbing what's being told to you, taking your own notes, journaling about it, whatever works for you,
Hmm.
and then kind of piecing together your own techniques and methods based off what you're taught. Um, which I really enjoy because I feel like it gives me a lot of power over my craft. It's like I'm just collecting a bunch of different paint colors from
Hmm.
each professor, and then I get to use those colors as I like to paint the scenes when they come, which is very freeing. It's like I just have a lot, I get to play with it a lot more,
Yeah,
and at the end of the day it's art, so it's all very subjective anyway. But none of the professors have had those like conflicting moments. Most of the
that's
time in
good.
my experience it's all tied together really, really well,
Good,
which has
good.
been
You want all
great.
the
Yeah.
arrows to point in the same way, to borrow a horrible business
Yeah, exactly.
corporate
And now we're all sitting there confused, just like, oh, I don't know what to do. And
right.
then this person said do this, and Mark Barford's scary, so I want to listen to him. Like, yeah, no.
Well, tell me a little bit. I don't know how long we've been going, because I, in the middle of that, ran out of Zoom minutes, so I actually had to buy. I just opted to pay for Zoom Pro.
Oh,
Uh,
LOL.
Business expense, that's the way it goes.
Right, exactly. It's a
Um, uh,
write-off.
Tell me about you. Is this your first time in New York, or had you ever visited New York before?
I've been in Brooklyn before.
Okay,
I'll say that
okay,
because I came to New York for Governor's Ball a couple years back.
really?
But yeah, it's a concert, just a little music
Yeah.
festival. I was here for like 7 days, maybe. The concert was only three of them, but I stayed with some friends. And we never made it out of Brooklyn. Brooklyn's huge.
Wow. Okay.
New York is huge. Like all
Yeah,
the
it
boroughs
is.
are cities in and
Yeah.
of themselves. They're massive. There's like 14 Denvers, I feel like, in New York. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
But this is like my school is it's on Broadway. It's right like you walk one block up and two blocks west question
Hmm.
mark
Uh-huh.
and you're in Times Square. So it's
Okay.
like
Oh, that
right in the
right in the
middle of
heart.
all the
Yeah.
hubbub. Yeah. I've spent a lot of time in Central Park, which has been super fun. It's also huge. I have not seen even a quarter of it yet,
Yeah.
even though I walked around for like hours. Um, but my favorite thing about the city is like I really thought there were going to be people performing that like you'd be walking by and you'd be like, oof, like keep up the practice. You know what I mean? No, everyone's incredible. Like the
Like
subways are
subway
constantly
performers and stuff.
filled.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
Exceptional performers
Really?
everywhere, all
Yeah.
the time. Absolutely. I haven't had too many crazy subway experiences.
Okay.
There was one guy who was trying to do dancing on the subway, and it was just a little too crowded, and he kind of gave up about halfway through his set, and was like, "Oof, sorry about that." And then there was the preacher.
Sure.
There's
Yeah.
there's a guy who's like known for getting on the train every morning at about the same time, and he'll go from car to car, just like reading from the Bible. I have my headphones in. I don't know what he's saying, but I haven't burst into flames, so I must be
Good.
all
Thank
right.
goodness. I'm sure he was really disappointed the rapture didn't happen this last week.
Oh man,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I was watching all those videos, all the people congregating, like waiting to be raptured,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
was like, the walk home from that must have been
Right.
like, who
It's
was
just
the
people
last
saying,
guy to leave?
do you think we got the day wrong? I don't know, man. Maybe it's,
I don't, I don't know. I don't know. If you guys had read Revelations, it says no one will know. We're not going to let you know. We're not giving anybody a
right.
heads up. We're not sending any messages. Like it's going to happen when it happens, and you guys are going to be totally surprised by it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was a whole thing at school too. And someone was like, "Wait, but if we get raptured, how are we gonna get out of the basement?" And I was like, "I don't think God is like lifting your physical body.
Right. Yeah. It's like,
I
oh,
think,
sorry, can't reach you. So you're stuck.
oh,
Sorry.
bummer. I guess you can't come. That's a
Yeah.
shame.
We had you on the list,
Location,
but you're in the
location,
basement.
location."
Yeah. Sorry, there was somebody in the apartment above you. I just grabbed them instead because it was more
Yeah,
convenient. Yeah.
yeah. They're just
Uh
easier to get to. Their windows opened up, which also isn't really a thing here, but
See, there's
eh,
there's so what I definitely want to have happen is for you to get some good subway stories that don't happen directly to you, but happen to
right,
somebody nearby. Like
right.
I don't want anything to happen to you, but I want you to be close to see something
Yeah.
happen to another person.
Yeah, and I feel like honestly, it's probably just like luck of the draw. Like I'm
Yeah,
sure on
right.
every subway train there is something going on. It's just
Sure.
that I don't tend to choose the cars
It's
that's
the roll
going
of
on
the
in which
dice.
like
Yeah. Right.
blessed. That's great. That's
Yeah.
great news. But it's been something. It's been something. And then
Yeah.
every day I feel like I know well there's at least four I know for sure of passengers struck by trains
Oh,
all the
geez,
time.
really?
All the time. Yeah,
Just
because
from
there's crazies that'll
falling down onto the tracks
people
and
will
stuff.
drop their phone and then try to jump onto the tracks and grab it, which is a horrible idea.
Yeah.
There are people that push people in front of trains, and then there's of course mental health issues.
Yeah,
So
of course. Oh, geez. Does it make you like the middle of those, getting pushed? Imagine it makes you like, all right, I'm not going to stand so close. I'm going to stand back here, wait
no,
for the train
really.
to arrive, and then I'll climb on. Yeah,
Yeah, it's I try to keep my back to the wall as much
yeah.
as I can. Or be in like they have railings in some spots, so if I can be close up and be at a railing, great. If there's
There
no
you
railing,
go.
I'm staying back. And a lot of it is like also body language. Like there's a lot of
Mm,
psychologists that teach about it on here, and it's like if you look like confident, strong, assertive,
mhm.
like you don't tend to be a target for certain things, especially if you're alert. And
Yeah.
like that's something that a lot of people haven't put together. Like they just want to be locked in their phones because they think, oh, if I'm paying attention to this, then I don't have to.
Then
And
people
it's like
ignore me.
that makes
Yeah,
you a target, babe. Like
yeah,
it
for sure.
people know that you're not paying attention. They can easily like sneak up behind you, take your wallet, push you on the tracks, whatever. And yeah, I mean, and the thing is like it's hard to even be mad about because it's like the mental health issue is just
Of
so bad
course.
in the
Yeah,
country as a whole, but also especially in New York because it is so incredibly unaffordable.
yeah.
And it's tough to be mad at people for acting the way they act when
Of
there's
course,
so
when they
little
can't
action being
control.
taken to
Yeah,
help alleviate the issue as a whole.
of
So,
course.
but this is a deep political conversation for another time.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, well, cool. Well, I don't know, we did almost an hour. I feel like this is a good stopping point, and I think it gives us a good opportunity. In a week, we'll figure out what new things have come up in class, we'll figure out. We'll see if you have any New York experiences. You probably don't get a lot of free time, do you? Like how during a typical school week?
I
Yeah,
Mondays and Tuesdays are both 12-hour days each. So
yeah.
Mondays 12 hours, sometimes 13 or 14 if I have voice lessons or
Just in
seminars.
class alone, not talking about even how much work you have to do once you get home after those.
Right, right. We
Jeez.
do have some built-in breaks. Like on Mondays and Tuesdays are only about 30 minutes. It's pretty short.
Wow.
Like you have like a chance to eat, grab something to eat, and then head back to your next class.
Wow.
Wednesdays through Fridays, however, are much shorter. I usually only have four, maybe five classes on those days
Okay.
with hour and a half breaks in between sometimes. And then we get out earlier most of the time, usually by 4 o'clock. So there's lots of like space after, but you also have to rehearse. Like we're learning scenes, we're working scenes with each other, so we need to be able to meet up, rehearse, practice our scenes, so that way we're
Sure.
memorized and ready to go for our
Of course.
performances in
Yeah.
class. And the big thing I always just try to keep in my mind is that the most important thing is just to be prepared. And like, and they even talk to us about it. They're like, sometimes you're going to get to that point where you're like, I don't have this Chekhov monologue memorized. It's already 11 p.m. And the best thing I can do for myself is go to sleep and just
Yeah.
show up to school with energy the next day. Because if you don't have energy and you're not memorized, like,
Yeah.
can't work with that,
Right.
So you
Right.
have
But
to
at least
like
if you show up with the
prioritize.
energy, then yeah, you can
Yeah.
get through the rest of it. And
Right.
huh. Wow. Okay. Well, we'll
Woo!
we'll work these shows in as often as we can. Once a week,
But
obviously, but
yeah.
when it works out schedule wise. But dude, it's so
Yeah.
great seeing you, and I'm glad you're doing so well
Yeah.
out there. It's
Thank you. I love it. I'm having
yeah,
a great
I
time.
can tell, and you've already made it through the hard part, which is the first few weeks of acclimating and getting used
Right.
to the place and getting used to the schedule and stuff. So I think you're going to be great.
Thanks. I appreciate it. I think so
Yeah.
too. I'm looking forward to what all I get to do next. So, yay.
Excellent. Well, we'll keep up our poutine routine here, and
Got it.
we'll touch base in a week and see where things are at.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Cool.
Thank you again and have a great rest of your
Yeah,
day.
you too. Bye
Bye.
bye.